Hey there everyone, Molly here with Savoring the Magic, where we believe that there is magic in the details. So today, once again, it is just me. Jonathan had to be somewhere else today, but that's okay. I am back in Animal Kingdom and we are going to be breaking down each of its individual lands slowly but surely. And today we are starting with one that is actually probably not going to be here for much longer. So come along with me on this dinosaur-themed excursion. So in our breakdown of Animal Kingdom as a whole, we discussed a lot about the park's development and how it would require a different kind of storytelling than they were used to. It would be more grounded in the cultures that were being replicated here within the park. And of course, the whole thing would be a celebration of the intrinsic value of nature and all the different ways that we interact with animals. Of course, not all animals are still around, so one of the areas was designed to be DINOLAND USA. It would reference extinct animals, and in Animal Kingdom, we would interact with them through reconstructions of their fossils and artistic expressions of their likenesses. Also, I feel like we can all agree that dinosaurs are just really cool. We also mentioned how expensive Animal Kingdom was becoming in the process of its development and within building it. By the time the park opened, it would cost $800 million, and that was with most of Asia not being prepared to open on opening day. For context, at one point, this might not have been that big of a deal, but Disney as a company was facing budget cuts after a less than stellar opening for Euro Disneyland, which of course we now know as Disneyland Paris. These budget cuts heavily influenced two different areas of the park. The first area it impacted was a theme section called Beastly Kingdom, which would have been devoted to creatures of legend and mythology. And the second it would end up impacting is indeed DINOLAND USA. During the final stages of planning, Michael Eisner decreed that either Beastly Kingdom or DINOLAND USA would need to be built first because of the budget cuts and the higher cost of the upkeep and care of the animals that Animal Kingdom would require. DINOLAND USA was chosen to be built first, mostly because of that lower budget and with some additional changes and even more cost-efficient build. Now, we will circle back to Beastly Kingdom in a future video, but obviously the land never came to be. Although I do want to note that in 1998, whenever Animal Kingdom opened, the plan was very much that Kingdom would be added later. There was stonework that promoted its later opening, and Michael Eisner even mentioned it in his dedication speech. It read, "Welcome to the kingdom of animals, real, ancient, and imagined. A kingdom ruled by lions, dinosaurs, and dragons. A kingdom of balance, harmony, and survival. A kingdom we enter to share in the wonder, gaze at the beauty, thrill at the drama, and learn." Let's go explore this kingdom ruled by the dinosaurs, as it were. The storyline for this area is that we are in Diggs County. This somewhat eclectic place used to be the home of a humble fishing camp that grew into one of the largest fossil excavation sites on the planet after dinosaur bones were discovered in 1947. So following this discovery of fossils, everyone moved into the area. Dinosaurs come with a fair amount of fascination, and in general, there are a lot of varying attitudes and beliefs about them. So with the story of Diggs County in place, this land tries to put all of those attitudes on display, whether more academic or zany. You get the academic approach to the Dino Institute and its resident paleontologists. Within this, you also get the grad students who make the area around the Institute a little more fun, as we'll point out. You get the amateur dinosaur aficionados through the Chester and Hester section. They've turned their old gas station into a humorously tacky roadside souvenir shop and even added their own Dino-RAMA to complete the roadside attraction. And lastly, you also have the commercial point of view promoted by the corporate interests of the Dino Institute. For instance, your task from Dr. Grant Seeker and Dinosaur is definitely not for the sole sake of research. So within this story framework, let's walk through the area and point out how it takes shape in the land itself. First, we approach Olden Gate Bridge. There's a cool little plaque here talking about the significance of it. And let's be for real, it's hard to miss given the towering dinosaur at its entrance. Then we hit the Boneyard. Remember how I said that the grad students at the Dino Institute are part of this story and make it a little more fun? Well, the Boneyard is one example of that. Yes, it's a playground where the setting is a working dinosaur dig site, but viewed from the perspective of a child. There are partially uncovered fossils that have become fair game for riding. Any doorway is worth a pull on the handle to explore what's inside, and any scaffolding or tubing is meant to be explored. But the need to inform is still present here. Kids have a chance to uncover a fossil and learn about how we find fossils, which is the whole way we know anything about dinosaurs. Although it should be noted that the fossil meant to be uncovered here is a mixture of bones from a Triceratops, T-Rex, and woolly mammoth that was carved by sculptors at Imagineering. You'll also find in this area informational plaques that tell us what paleontologists look for as they dig and study their findings. Most of these actually showcase an academic debate about how these dinosaurs lived and eventually became extinct, so there's notes posted arguing the printed facts and new theories. From there we hit Chester's and Hester's DINO-RAMA. The Chester and Hester area is really a mini-land within the greater theme of Dinoland. It's meant to be a brainchild of its two proprietors. It is a whimsical take on the roadside attractions prevalent in the height of Route 66. And yes, it's meant to be a nostalgic reflection of such a place, not a cynical view of their creators' somewhat less sophisticated skills as show people. So think of it as sincere in its intentions, if not necessarily skilled in its presentation. Also, just remember that very real Disney problem of budget cuts when it was being created. There is absolutely nothing academic about this space. It is all fun and an expression of people's enthusiasm for a subject, which in this case is dinosaurs. And yes, you can think of Chester and Hester as profiting off of the newfound notoriety of the area, within this framework of the story anyway. So once you get in here, there are little dino games within it, just kind of classic carnival games, but themed to dinosaurs. You have Triceratops Spin, perfect for kids, meant to capture the wonder of a child's imagination concerning dinosaurs. And there used to be Primeval Whirl. It's no longer here, but it was Chester and Hester's nod to the Time Rovers and the Dino Institute, their own pseudo-time machine vehicle with lots of twists and turns. And lastly, there's Chester's and Hester's Dinosaur Treasures. It definitely shows off the ability of people everywhere to find some way to make a buck off of anything. They've changed the old-time gas station to a dinosaur gift shop. If you've never walked through here before, honestly, you should. It is eccentric and just, I don't know, a whole experience, I guess I would say. Just look around and think about how much the prop designers and the interior designers got to have fun quote-unquote renovating the old gas station. It certainly is an eclectic mix of ornamentation out front and inside. Notice the tractor tire planters. It suggests a certain creative frugality, really. Also, don't miss the irony of a souvenir shop devoted to the exploitation of dinosaurs in the site of a former gas station, which kind of exploits dinosaurs another way whenever you think about it. From there, we wander over to the Dino Institute. Easily the most important presence in DINOLAND USA is that of the Institute. It was clearly founded following the discovery of the fossils, and this group is deeply devoted to the science of dinosaurs. There's displays all throughout the building signify that. And yeah, maybe they're a little stuffy and a little self-important and institutional. They might not have the sense of humor, but the grad students who enroll in the classes at the Institute definitely do. We see their marks all over the place, and the general story idea is that the Institute can't control them, and their presence is largely marked by the funny signage we see around the area. We'll look a little bit more at that in a second. But in the meantime, yes, this building houses the Dinosaur Attraction, originally named Countdown to Extinction before its naming was tied to Disney's 2000 animated movie of the same name. For the building itself, Imagineers used trees on top of the building and around it to help disguise just how large the building is and mask the backstage elements they don't want guests to see. A building this large would definitely be out of place in the story of this tiny place called Diggs County, so it is a clever way to hide it. The ride has some of the largest audio animatronic figures ever produced at that time and were designed in consultation with leading paleontologists. Their figures were first mocked up on the computer and tested in small model form before the large-scale figures were made. The pre-show itself highlights the tension between the corporate and academic interest at Dino Institute. Outside of that, the attraction provides us with a glimpse at a broad range of dinosaur species, from the very docile to the incredibly ferocious in, very lifelike audio animatronic form. The enhanced motion vehicle ride system used for the Time Rovers and Dinosaur was originally developed for the Indiana Jones adventure at Disneyland. Dinosaur offers the second generation design of that vehicle and its first implementation at Walt Disney World. The vehicle consists of a moving platform capable of stopping, going, cornering, climbing, and descending, all while carrying a hydraulic motion-based system that offers us the ability to program pitch, roll, and yaw movements to enhance the experience. Really, the benefit of this type of vehicle with these capabilities is that it can offer new ways to impart information to riders. It can feel as if they're going over a log in the trail. It can feel as if you're being bogged down in mud or about to flinch out of fear from a dinosaur attack. It helps enhance the story. So whenever we exit the towering Dino Institute, our next stop is Restaurantosaurus and the Dino Bite snack area kind of attached to it. Restaurantosaurus is supposed to be a venue that operated before the finding of the fossils, and an example of citizens in Diggs County just trying to go mostly about their business. However, their signage has been heavily influenced by those grad students that we mentioned. The addition of Osaurus evidently constitutes an improvement to any word, hence the restaurant's name. Well, its name now. Note the lawn chairs on the roof and the plunger arrows stuck on the side of the adjacent water tower. Also the handy device that they have rigged in order to avoid having to actually move. Inside the Restaurantosaurus building, though, is the entire story of DINOLAND all in one facility, existing as it has since the long days before the first fossil was discovered there. The legend is that back in 1947, an amateur fossil hunter and a group of his scientist friends banded together to purchase the site, knowing right away how much scientific value would be realized once they had found the fossils. Since its days as a fishing lodge, the building has served as a visitor center, a museum with fossils on the wall, the first iteration of the Dino Institute with a fossil lab, and a clubhouse for students. Now it's both a commissary and a dormitory for the grad students who live there, as you can see by their handiwork and displays of irreverent humor. Of course, all these lifetimes left a mark on the building, and each of the rooms carries evidence of its previous function, such as a maintenance building with an adjacent auxiliary storage, the plastering room with remnants of the prepping and shipping of fossils, and so on. And lastly, kind of in between the Dino Institute and Restaurantosaurus, you'll find the Cretaceous Trail. Of course, part of this now is just a meet and greet area with a character, but when it first opened, it was really just a trail to walk through. Meant to be a sort of botanical garden maintained by the Dino Institute that takes one back to a landscape reminiscent of those roamed by the dinosaurs. The intent was to inform visitors. It is populated by plant species that have been around since the age of the dinosaurs. In fact, whenever it opened in 1998, it was the third largest collection of cycads in North America. So now that we've explored DINOLAND USA, let's talk about where it's going. Overall, this area has been largely unchanged. Sure, Dinosaur had a change in name. Donald's Dino Bash was added around the area, and the biggest change, of course, would be the removal of primeval whirl in 2020. However, all signs point to the fact that DINOLAND USA will eventually be turned into something else. At D23 in 2022, we had our first indication of this and some blue sky ideas. Then last year at Destination D23, it was pitched that the area would be transformed into the tropical Americas. We obviously don't know a ton about this yet, but during the conference, it was teased that Imagineers are looking at some of the most biodiverse areas on the planet in the regions around the northern part of South America, stretching up into Central America. With that, new experiences inspired by Encanto and the beloved adventurer Indiana Jones are being considered for this reimagining. So did you know all these details about DINOLAND USA? What are some of your favorite details about this land? And are you excited to see it become something different in the future? Comment and let us know. We have new episodes coming out every Wednesday and Saturday, so if you enjoyed this video, be sure to click subscribe so you can follow along on all of our future adventures. But until next time, keep savoring the magic.